Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode. My name is Sayam Pathak. I'm CNCF Ambassador, and you are watching me live on YouTube and Twitch. So, if you are new to the channel, please care to subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, please care to follow. If you are seeing on Twitch, and yes, feel free to ask any questions, introduce yourself in the chat, and where you are joining in from, and please be nice to each other during the session. So today we'll be discussing all about Keptn in production. I'm a big fan of Jurgen and big fan of the project. I have been involved early on the early on stages with Jurgen. I have already did a few streams with Jurgen, and it has been amazing experience to see where Keptn has now gone and to see the community adopting it at a larger scale. So I'm really happy where the project is going on with the power of community and the dedicated folks like Jurgen himself who are driving the project, and actually Jurgen might be showing you today one of the URLs where actually there are a lot of tutorials, the step-by-step ones, which I really like you can try different types of scenarios, different use cases, and it's very well documented. So I really like that portion where you can actually go see, do step-by-step things. That's really awesome. So today we'll be discussing about all about Keptn with its production use cases, like who actually are using Keptn, in production, and what people are using Keptn for, why you should care now, and what advantages it have. And obviously we'll do a quick intro as well, like what Keptn is, and we'll see if we, like the architecture and how to use Keptn in production with the best practices, like because this is about production, and you will find a lot of great talks from Jurgen himself where he talks about Keptn. So what we want to focus today is, like, after we introduce the Keptn and set the stage so that you understand where we are headed to, we'll talk more on the production things, like I'm running already an application, I have a Kubernetes cluster, I have this particular workflow. How do I go from there? How do I implement Keptn? What are some of the gotchas and some of the things I should keep in my mind when I'm implementing it at a larger scale, or I'm implementing for huge clusters or small mini clusters, things like that. So that should be pretty exciting, to be honest. And then we'll also Jurgen promised that there's a very cool demo, so I'm looking forward to that. And we have a roadmap as well, that I mean in the GitHub or somewhere, that we'll have a look. And also a very important part in the end we always do is getting involved, how you people and myself can get involved in the Keptn project, different opportunities, how we can contribute back in terms of coding, documentation, and so on and so forth. So with that, I think, yeah, I see, folks joining in. Hi, G. Hi, Rutum, Avinash, Adarsh, Balaji. Glad that you people are here. Hi, Suman. So today also we'll be having a few swag giveaways. Again, thanks to the Keptn folks and Jurgen for doing that. So the criteria is very simple. You tweet out the kind of in a Twitter thread, what you are learning from the stream as you go, so that we know, like, you are learning something, because that's the whole point of doing these streams. So yeah, please make sure to tell out your learnings, tell out your outcomes and your thinking, and your use cases, what you think you might be doing with Keptn. So I think that should be very interesting. So please do that. Tag Jurgen. His Twitter handle is on the screen. You can see. You can tag me. You can tag actually the Keptn project as well, which is on Twitter. So make sure you do that. And I have a few folks who are watching the tweet handles, and they'll let me know the best tweets, and we'll, I think, give away 3 folks, right, Jurgen?
Yes.
Awesome. So
they can get this awesome T-shirt.
Cool. So you'll be getting awesome T-shirts. So we'll be having 3 swag giveaways, and so stay tuned till the end, and let's get started with Keptn in production. So Jurgen is from Dynatrace and a very core contributor to Keptn project. So Jurgen, please introduce yourself to the community.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Sayam. It's really cool to join you here on this live stream. I already see a lot of comments are coming in here, also in our, let's say, backend, which is pretty cool. So hello, everyone, and it's great to join you. Today, I'm excited to talk about Keptn in production, because when we started Keptn as a project, it was not clear that we will see Keptn in production at large, really large organizations and what they are doing with the project. And for today, I want to show you, first of all, what is Keptn. Maybe you are already familiar with Keptn, maybe you're not so much familiar with Keptn. So I try to keep it short. What is Keptn? Which problems we solve? And then we work a little bit into the way how our adopters are actually using Keptn, what problems they are solving, and how it is used in production. And then I'm really happy to answer all of your questions. What are the best practices? How to integrate Keptn with your tools? We will see Keptn is basically made for integrating with other tools, either in the CNCF ecosystem or with other tools. But first, I have prepared a couple of slides just for the introduction, just to set the stage. I will try to keep this short. Let me just start to share the screen. And Sayam, please feel free to interrupt me anytime if any part is too long or too short. Feel free to interrupt me, and I'll try to answer then all the questions.
Yep, and please, folks who are listening, keep asking questions because now is your time.
Exactly. So yeah, thanks again for joining the session. Keptn in production. We called it Keptn in production, and I think we have never done this kind of session before, where we really are focusing on production usage. Nevertheless, if it's the first time you hear about Keptn, it's absolutely the right spot here, and we'll also highlight those parts where you can get started easily and then move your way from a start and a demo project all the way to using it in production. I've put just a couple of resources here. I would be excited. I've not checked yet the stars on GitHub, but sometimes I do. I just check in the beginning, how many stars do we have on GitHub, and at the end, how many stars do we have. So maybe when I switch from the slides to more an interactive mode, we can maybe take a look, and maybe we can push our stars on GitHub. If you're a fan of the project, please give it a star. That would be really cool. So my name is Jürgen. I work at Dynatrace. It's a company. I am based in Austria, and the company was founded in Austria. Now it's a US-based company, and its product is also goes by the name Dynatrace. So if you heard already, that's pretty cool. But what I'm mostly involved in nowadays is Keptn. I'm a maintainer of the project. I was one of the early core contributors, and nowadays I'm more involved in the Keptn ecosystem and also in the CNCF ecosystem. And not so much on Keptn core, but really in the Keptn ecosystem. And we will hear and we will see which tools are integrating with Keptn, which other tools from the CNCF ecosystem we are building upon, for example. And yeah, this is my role in the Keptn project. And if you have any questions, I just put in here my Twitter handle and also my LinkedIn, so feel free to reach out anytime for questions. Questions on the project itself, they can also go in the Slack of Keptn, and you found the links on the very first slide. And I'm also happy to put this later on in the chat. So actually, which problems do we solve with Keptn, and why you might want to use Keptn? And I have 3 examples here. And the first one is really the problem of actually delivering applications and building monolithic automation. We've heard this from one of our adopters from the company called ERT, and Christian. He's also a contributor to the project. He's based in Germany, and he has the problem that inside ERT they are asking me, "Hey, Christian, the pipeline is broken. Please fix." So his task is to maintain and to fix very large pipelines. And the problem is what we see here is with large pipelines. This is a GitLab pipeline. We really mean really large pipeline, over 1,000 lines of code, of pipeline code. And if there's anything breaking this pipeline, you have to debug pipeline code, and that's not an easy task. So with 1,000 lines of pipeline code, that really escalated quickly, and that really is a problem for large organizations. Another thing is, and we felt this ourselves, we felt this pain ourselves, that with all these microservices, all these distributed teams, you might have a pipeline maybe as large as the one that Christian showed us, or maybe a little bit of smaller pipeline. But if the pipeline's running, if the pipeline is working, you take this pipeline code and you use it for your project and for the next project and for the next project. So you're basically copy and pasting pipeline code. And the problem is you might want to have only one service with one pipeline, or you might have one project consisting of a couple of services, or you have more teams consisting of more projects, consisting of more pipelines. And each time you copy and paste these pipelines, it becomes a nightmare also when you want to maintain it. We already know code duplication is also in software engineering discipline. We don't want to have code duplication, so we also don't want to have it in pipeline code. This is also a real problem. And then the third problem is actually ensuring, let's say, ensuring quality of the software and scaling this quality. And we got a nice quote here from the managing director of Triscon. He's based in Vienna, and they were limited in scaling all their SRE practices since a lot of tasks in their performance testing are still manual. So they have let's say, a bad ratio between the maintenance of script and the creation of new scripts and automating new scripts and onboarding new applications. And they really spent a lot of time with the scripts, with the creation, with the maintenance, with the configuration of the monitoring, a lot of time with analyzing test results and to generate the reports to be able to compare different versions of microservices, how they behave, which version is better, which version should run in production, for example. So we've seen actually 3 more or less completely different use cases, but Keptn serves all of them. And how is that possible? What is Keptn? And Keptn is really that we have different terms for it. Let's say it's data-driven delivery and operations automation, and it's also an orchestrator for your DevOps tools. So you pick your use case, you install Keptn, and then you connect Keptn to the tools that you want to automate and orchestrate. You bring your configuration, you bring your process definition, you bring your quality gate definitions, and then Keptn can automate those use cases for you by automating the configuration of the tools and automating also your processes. So, and the whole automation is done in an event-driven process, so to say. Everything is based on cloud events. That's also a CNCF project. And with this, by sending and receiving cloud events, Keptn can then orchestrate the tools. And we will see a little bit of this in the demo. So 3 examples already in the beginning, 3 examples how Keptn is really working for our adopters, for our end users in their production environments. The first one is Raiffeisen software. If you're living in, let's say, in Europe, especially in the German-speaking parts of Europe, like Austria, Germany, also a little bit of Eastern Europe, you are most likely familiar with Raiffeisen because it's a huge bank, it's a huge financial institution here in Europe. If you're not from Europe, but you can imagine a large financial institution. So this is the main point. And Raiffeisen software is writing the software for this large institution. And they are using Keptn, and especially the quality gate part of Keptn, for every new release of their mobile applications for mobile banking and also for the backend of this. So every new release is actually validated by Keptn if it should go into production or not, which is pretty cool. The second use case, it's different. This is by a company called Kitopi. They are offering, I think it's called Kitchen as a Service, something like this. So it's a very new, very innovative company. Not like a traditional financial institution, very new, very innovative. And they are using Keptn and also parts of the quality gates of Keptn for measuring and ensuring their resilience of their architecture and their applications. And they are doing this with a combination of performance tests and load tests and chaos engineering. And they are orchestrating this with Keptn, and then they are using SLOs and Keptn to evaluate the resilience of their applications. And they are doing this with a very, I think it's great concept. They're doing different rounds each night. They are doing different rounds of chaos, and they are they defined what is the threshold of chaos the application has to survive, and which chaos the application has to fail. So kind of an example and a counterexample to really test that all their quality rules are not too relaxed and not too strict. They're really testing their applications here with chaos and performance tests. And then the third one is ERT. I already mentioned them in the beginning. They're really scaling their large pipelines, thousands of lines of code. They are moved from these thousands of lines of code they've moved to orchestration with Keptn, drastically reducing the number of lines of code, making it able again to manage their pipelines, to manage their applications, and to onboard new microservices and new applications into their delivery stack. So these are 3 examples. I now wanted to show you a little bit of the Keptn architecture, just to give you an idea how does it work, why does it scale, and how does it live in your Kubernetes cluster? How can you make use of it, and how can you connect to it?
Yep, I think
any questions so far?
Yep, I was just about to say, like, the introduction was bang on, because we have a couple of folks who are very new to Keptn, and I think this really solves the use case driven approach of explaining what the product actually solves is really important. And the huge chunks of the pipelines that a person has to manage, it's very difficult. Then you have like the code duplication between the pipelines of various projects, and copy pasting the same thing again and again in different pipelines, and then editing some of the things for different projects. It becomes a mess when you have larger teams, larger projects, and less number of folks. Obviously that person gets frustrated managing only a specific set of scenarios and fixing the pipelines, and cannot focus on the other areas of improvement and innovation. And last but not the least, SLOs play a very important role in software delivery, and that I think that key measures should be very important. And I think these 3 things taken care by Keptn, and easing out all the things, I mean, like, obviously, like you have shown the use cases that people are using: financial institutions, chaos engineering with Litmus, and defining the SLOs, a very good use case. I think there was a demo at KubeCon regarding the same, if I am not wrong. Yeah, I use Litmus a lot. Even I had the same kind of demo with Litmus on a different perspective, like seeing how things are working, and how we can measure the software success. But I think, yeah, that's the right way of measuring things, and using Keptn in different ways. So by now, those of you who were kind of in a state where you didn't know Keptn, but now you should be knowing like what Keptn is, what problems it is trying to solve, and what are some of the organization or the companies who have already adopted it, with respect to some of the use cases that Jürgen has just discussed. Yeah, let's see like how it works. I mean, the architecture wise.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for also summarizing this. Really cool. That I think makes it much more clear and easy to follow. So for the architecture, actually, maybe just let's stay on this for just a second. So what we've seen in the larger pipelines is that the pipelines grow immensely because there are a couple of things are actually in the in delivery pipelines. So if we really talk about pipelines, there are a couple of things that are maybe not ideal, and it's the mixture of the different kinds of information that is part of the pipelines. So we do have parts of the process, parts of the platform, the environments, the tools. Everything goes into one large pipeline, even if it's a Jenkins pipeline, if it's a GitLab pipeline. A lot of different information goes into these pipelines. And there is no clear separation then of the concerns. So there is, if the developer is interested in, or let's say if the DevOps engineer is interested in all the tools that are involved in the pipeline, the DevOps engineer still has to read the whole pipeline. If a site reliability engineer is interested in the quality checks, still has to read the whole pipeline, because they are somewhere in the pipeline, but it's not very clear where they are and how they are defined. So this is a little bit of a problem. And what we did in Keptn, actually, this was one of the first things, and how the project kind of started was, we thought, okay, there are different, let's say, building blocks in a pipeline. You want to build an artifact, you want to deploy it, to test it, to evaluate the quality. There is a couple of different things you want to do, but this is kind of a, let's say, a process definition. And we thought, okay, why not take the process definition and the tooling and separate those two? So what we've done is basically we put in an eventing mechanism. We are now using cloud events to separate the process from the tooling. So in the process, we define, now we want to build. We do not say which tool we use, or we want to deploy, which we do not say, is it with Helm, is it with Argo CD, is it with, I don't know, Flux. We just want to deploy. We want to test, but we do not specify directly in the test phase which tool we want to use. So this makes it very flexible to connect other tools, and we can focus. Let's say a pipeline engineer can focus on the process definition, while a DevOps engineer can focus on the tooling and can upgrade the tooling without breaking the process. So which events to generate is part of the process definition, and the tool definition defines which events to consume. So you just connect your tool to the Keptn control plane. And this Keptn control plane is living in the Kubernetes cluster. And it listens for different kind of cloud events. We have a whole specification of all the cloud events that can be sent to Keptn and sent from Keptn. And this separation of concerns actually makes it possible to drastically reduce the pipeline code. Why is it possible? Because we take out the tool-specific code and put it to the tools, put it where it belongs, so to say. And we just focus on the process, let's say. So at ERT, they could drastically reduce their pipeline code by, let's say, 1,000 lines of code to around 100 lines of code, by still having a multi-stage delivery pipeline with quality checks, with orchestrated tests, with quality evaluations. I already said that, with the deployment definition. So everything could go into the pipeline, but the tool-specific tool is now more moved to the tools themselves. And everything that Keptn is doing, also this the process definition, the tool definitions, this is basically everything in the Kubernetes cluster and based on GitOps. And the configurations, they live in your Git repository and are then managed by Keptn. So how does a Shipyard look like, a Shipyard file look like? And maybe I can already describe here how you can move it from your, let's say, demo instance, or you want to try a tutorial, how you can move it from demo to production. Because the interesting part here, again, is you define the process, and you do not define directly in the Shipyard, you do not define the tooling. So the tooling I defined here with all the icons, it's just for visual representation, so to say. So let's focus on the Shipyard just for a second. Just a small disclaimer, it's currently it's not a Kubernetes CRD. It already looks like one, but it's actually processed by Keptn whenever you start a new sequence. So it's not an operator listening for what's going on, but it's event-based. So you send an event to Keptn and say, okay, dear Keptn, now start my delivery sequence. And we can already see here a delivery sequence in our dev environment. So all the stages like dev, staging, production, this would go, each of them has a different, is its own stage. So in this file, we only see the dev stage. You could imagine you just take the whole block, you can copy paste it, and you can move it to staging and then just change the ways that are different between dev and staging. What we can see, we have one sequence and it's called delivery. And during the delivery sequence, we have a deployment, a test, an evaluation, a release, Release means to release it to the next stage. But you also have a different task sequence, which is called delivery direct, where we want to do direct deployment instead of, actually there's a small hiccup here. This one could be a blue-green deployment, for example, with Helm. So what you have here is the whole process definition, and now you can add your tests. And you might want to have, for, let's say, a demo purpose, you might want to have very easy G-meter tests. But maybe when you move to a production like environment, maybe you want to have locus tests, or a combination of G-meter tests with functional tests and performance tests, or long-running load tests, or load tests in combination with chaos. So this is everything you can just add to this test task. This is what we call a task. And you can just rewrite either the test strategy, or you can just add other tools and say, okay, if the test strategy is functional, then it's your job. And this is how we are orchestrating and distributing the work from Keptn to all these other tools. So basically, you start with a Shipyard definition, no matter if you're running a small demo application or if you're running in production. You start with the Shipyard, you can reuse the Shipyard, and then you connect your tools. And the tool connection is basically made with a subscription mechanism, where you subscribe to a topic or a different, so to say, a type of a cloud event, such as a deployment event or a test event or a promotion event if you want to promote it to the next stage, these kind of events. One part that we mentioned in the beginning, and also Sayam mentioned this again in the summary in between, it's SLOs, and I just want to focus here on this slide, because also SLOs, these are the part where we often see organizations migrate from demo to production. So an SLO is a service level objective, and it defines, let's say, a quality goal for a specific metric, we can say. So at the top here, I have a list of indicators. We can think of this as a library of all my indicators I have. So in this case, I just have 2 indicators, but think of this like hundreds of indicators, like a response time P95, response time P99, I don't know, error rate, throughput. Here I have the probe duration, probe success percentage, memory consumption, maybe I already said it, maybe disk utilization, I/O, whatever. So you can have you can build a list, a large library of indicators, and Keptn already comes with some of those, but you can just build it by yourself. And you can just have a list of indicators with a name and how to retrieve it, like with a PromQL. Or if you're using others, it might be an API call to your data provider, to your observability tool. So this can be exchanged easily between different tools. And then you can use these indicators in your service level objective file. And you define the criteria. So let's say the probe success percentage during the duration of the check has to be higher than 95%. So this is my quality gate. If it's not within this pass criteria, Keptn would check, is there any warning criteria? Yes, there is a criteria where you get a warning. If it's still higher than 90%, you will get a warning. If it's less than 90, then it will fail. Then you would not even get a warning, it would just fail. So this is how you can build quality gates with Keptn. And what we see here often is that first you start with very short service level objectives, like only 3 or 2 objectives, but moving to production, you increase. So we've seen quality gates with more than 50, 100 evaluations, and Keptn just go through all the different metrics, compares them to the thresholds, scores them. Oh, actually, I think I do have an animation here. Yeah. So it goes through everything that's defined in your service level objective file, queries the data providers like Prometheus, Dynatrace, Neoload, or your custom tool, scores it, gives the SLI as an individual score, and then comes up with a total score. And based on the total score, we can define, okay, the quality gate in total has to be higher than 95%, or in this case, 80% maybe, and it will give you a pass, warning, or fail, very similar to the individual SLIs again. And then with this information, Keptn can either block it from moving it to the next stage, maybe production, Or you can also, if you have Keptn connected to your own tools, then you can just do with this, with the result, whatever you want to do. Maybe if there is a failed quality gate and you have your Slack connected to failed quality gate evaluations, then every time there's a failed quality gate, you get a notification on Slack. Hey, this version of the microservice or this latest build cannot make it to production because this is the result of the quality gate. You only get 60% quality score, and you can directly take a look what is the problem, and you will see all the detailed information there. So this is how you can. This is why this event-based mechanism is a very strong strong mechanism, and this is why we see all these tools connected to Keptn and being integrated with Keptn. So how does it usually look like in our adopters environments? Usually it works like this, that the whole CI part is not part of Keptn. So Keptn starts when there is a new container image. So the whole building really depends. We've seen that our users are using Keptn. Some of those, that are more living in the cloud, they're using Circle CI, Travis CI, GitHub Actions for building a new version of their container image, let's just say a Docker image. And once this is built, they tell Keptn, okay, now start my delivery sequence. I have a new version of a microservice. And then Keptn will deploy this new version, will trigger the tests, such as locus tests, JMeter tests, and will then evaluate this. And based on the score, it will move it to the next stage. So usually Keptn is used in multi-stage environments where you have dev, staging, production, or this is very, let's say, this really depends on the user. So some of those, they have various pre-production environments. Some of those, they only have a very limited amount of pre-production environments. Maybe they have only one, and then they move it to production. It really depends how many pre-production stages you have. I always think you should not have too many because then you never know where to test. But that really depends on the user. But usually, if we think of like a three-staged approach, we have dev, staging, production. In between are the Keptn quality gates that check it based on the SLOs that we've seen. And what we've seen is actually the power of this SLOs and this SLO-based approach drastically reduces the amount of time that it's needed for approval, if it should go to production or not, or if it should go from dev to pre-prod or any staging environment. Because as I've already described, the power here is really you define what are all the criteria that Keptn should check automatically. It's defined once how to retrieve all the data, and then Keptn is doing all the data querying, the score, and it can be also based on filters, how to retrieve all the data, that you re-query the data for the testing period and the testing time frame, because Keptn orchestrates those tools. So instead of doing the lengthy and more manual approval process, what Keptn can do is it can. Here we have once demoed it on the with Keptn quality gates inside a Jenkins pipeline. But what Keptn is doing, it can trigger the tests. It can then trigger the quality gate, come up with a score, and bring back the score to the pipeline, and then based on this, it can directly move on to the next stage, or it can be blocked here, even rolled back to the previous version. So I think, yeah, and this, of course, I already mentioned this, Keptn can be integrated in different tools. But I think since we've already taken a couple of minutes for the slide part here, I'd like to move into a more demo environment where we can see all those different parts actually working together. So I will just stop it here. Or maybe, Sayam, are there any questions so far?
No questions so far, but I would like to just add on a few of the things and recap just like I did previously, because just to figure out like people are also getting the same point that you are trying to convey. the thing is, you have seen the power of Keptn now, and the architecture actually which Jurgen showed is not like something the the workings, but it's actually the building blocks. So you have the shipyard, which is the base, and that actually reduces the size by 90%. I think it's huge. So you can see the first problem that is getting solved. Like, you don't have to write the huge chunks of files and manage the tooling within the tooling. So basically, Keptn is separate out, is separating out the tools and letting them do the work that they are doing best, and you just using that tool inside your application. So in order to deploy your application to the to different environments, so you can have different stages, like you can see on the screen. You can have just like the dev stage and production, different stages are there. You can have your deployment tasks that are there, and also different integrations. So there was a question like, can I integrate with Jenkins? Yes, you can. Can I integrate with different toolings? Yes, you can. So the integration part is very solid, because you can bring your own tools, and also the observability. So basically, it listens to the cloud events. So now you have the cloud events. It will be listening to that, and it will be performing actions based on that. One other big section that was discussed is SLOs. So SLOs, like we mentioned time and again, that it is very important for moving to different stages in the environment, because when you work in an organization where the applications are mission critical, you obviously do not deploy the apps directly to the production. There is a whole cycle. There's a whole testing phase that goes through. But now you can have your monitoring checks. You can have your monitoring tools plugged in, like Prometheus is there. So you'll be having that set of metrics, and you'll be plugging in that tool with Keptn. And now, once you have plugged in different tools like Dynatrace, Prometheus, or even the tool X, like which is your own implementation of any other monitoring system, so you can plug that, and now it's responsibility of Keptn to capture those metrics, calculate the scores, and then promote it to a different stage. So you will be having your own metrics, set of metrics. Obviously, it's a one-time activity that you will do, but it's very worthy if you think of a longer term when you have different release cycles. So you have to do the effort once in writing all the metrics which are required in detail on different, like on the screen you can see like 3 are already mentioned, like you have the success criteria, probe duration, so success percentage. So you can have, let's say, maybe 50 of them, or maybe 100 also, depending on how much mission critical the application is. Because if it's mission critical, you would want to check each and every piece of the metrics and calculate the percentage. And once it is checked, you will be moving on to the next stage. Now you can see, if I would I would have been doing it manually. So you can see a whole phase of weeks that the testing would go in staging, plus the whole stage of weeks the testing would go in the next set, pre-prod, and then going to the production. So you can see one release cycle taking about a month, you reducing it with one-time effort of writing all these metrics, all the SLOs, and then automatically with every release, with every push to production or push to GitHub, with the GitOps cycle, that is. So you will be having all flawless. So that's the real power that you have to understand. Because why I'm talking this, because we are now talking about Keptn in production, and in production things are not as simple. You need to measure a lot of metrics, and you need to measure a lot of test cases. So I think those monitoring PCs getting integrated with Keptn in the shipyard, and you will be able to do many things. I mean, that would drastically reduce the time to production.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually the quality gates are also one of the first parts of Keptn that are used by Keptn adopters, because these are the quality gates is very crucial part. If you're running mission critical systems, or if you can also think about you do not even want to break your web shop, because you make your money in with your end users, and you don't want to provide bad user experience for your users. So you really want to make sure that the software you're running in production is well tested and is evaluated. You can always argue, okay, I do have my Prometheus alerting rules. I have everything set up in production. So if there's anything going wrong, I will be alerted. That's true. But everything you can do already before with the quality gate, you should do. And actually for Keptn, even if there is anything going wrong in production, going sideways, Then you can also automate parts of the remediation with Keptn. I'm not so much talking about this today. This would be a whole new, let's say, part of Keptn where we take a look at Keptn in operations. But for today, I really want to focus what is the most seen use cases of Keptn in production environments. And
Yep. Let's jump to the demo because we have talked a lot, and I think people are really excited to see it in action.
okay, cool. So let me just jump in here. So I do have it's a public demo environment, but I just want to show you this environment because first of all, I know it well because I know which services are running here, and we will see all the different portions. I also do have another environment prepared if we want to go a little bit more advanced. But for this, we can take a look at a sock shop. This is an application that will be deployed 3 times a day, and we can have a look on all the different stages. So we have dev, staging, and production. We see different services. So it's actually the shopping cart and the database service behind the shopping cart service. So it's very simple. It's one project with 2 services and 3 stages. So we can have a look at all the different services, but actually I want to take a look at all the sequences so we can see from the Shipyard file how the Shipyard file is actually executed in Keptn. So let's have a look at the sequences, and let's first take one that was successful, maybe this one here. So today at 10 in the morning, we started this a delivery. And we can see from dev to staging all the way to production. And we can start in dev and see what was really going on. And now the important part is we can see the orchestration. So Keptn is not a deployment tool. Keptn itself does not deploy. Instead, we do it with Helm in this example. So we used Helm for starting the deployment, and 1 minute later, Helm was finished with the deployment, sent this information back to Keptn, and Keptn initiated the tests. Keptn is not a testing tool, but Keptn can orchestrate testing tools. So in this case, JMeter was initiated. And then Keptn was doing the evaluation. So in this case, we were skipping evaluation. It was just in our dev environment. So basically, we just want to deploy in dev environments and did not do any evaluation here. So it was released to the next stage. Let us take a look in staging. It's a very, very similar, let's say, task sequence. We have deployment, test, evaluation. But this time, for example, the tests have been running for 2 minutes now. And this time we get an evaluation with 100%, and we can have a look at the quality evaluation. And we will see all the SLIs, we will see the SLOs, and we will see actually also the how this is, we can see the total score. So as said in the beginning, it's there are a couple of deployments each day, so this explains this pattern here. So in this case, the previous run was successful. It was compared to the run in the morning, and sorry, we could see all of our SLOs were actually successful, or the throughput is not checked. So I don't have set an SLO for the throughput. I just have it here for informational purposes, so I can see the throughput. Actually, it was only 2 queries going through, but I can see it at least. I have not sent any criteria for this. One part also, when we're talking about production usage, again, is a lot of users of Keptn, they have, okay, I need a quality gate because I really need to check the quality of my services. They should not break the end user's experience. So how can they check it? Okay, if we say, okay, what is your, the error rate, of course, has to be very, very low. So you can start maybe with the error rate of, let's say, 5%. But what is my response time for one particular microservice? Sometimes we don't really know because we have never measured maybe. So one part that we see a lot of organizations start with is to use relative thresholds to say, okay, the response time has to stay within 10% increase to the previous runs. So with this, you do not have to know the exact response time, But you can still set a target. You can still set a goal and say, okay, it's only allowed to increase by 10% to the previous runs. If it's increasing by more than 10%, I want to get a warning. So I would only I would not give it full score on this quality gate. And then once you learn, you should set a fixed threshold to avoid regression from builds to builds. So this is a very good combination to use both fixed thresholds and relative thresholds to build your quality gates. This is often used, especially in the beginning of production usages. And then the other part that is also often used in production usage is to start with, let's say, one test integration. We have it here. Let's go back. So in the test, we have it here. Test the JMeter tests running for 2 minutes. But then after, let's say, half a year, you're familiar already, you're fine with all the JMeter tests. Maybe now you want to add chaos tests, or you want to add, besides your functional tests that you are doing with JMeter, you want to add performance tests, or you want to add UI tests. Then you can just add these tests. You do not have to change the process definition, but you can add those later without changing the process, just by adding a new tool. And since I think since a couple of weeks, we now also have this screen here in Keptn to see what are all the tools that are currently connected to Keptn. So in my demo application here, I do have Helm for deployments connected. I have JMeter connected for the tests. I have Litmus for chaos engineering connected here also for the tests. I have, what else do I have connected here? Unleash for remediations. I do have a remediation service. I do have my API service. So I have a couple of different services connected, and I can add more services. This is, you might want to start small, and then you can expand by adding more services to the Keptn control plane. And in my other demo application, I'm now switching just to another demo application, just to show you one part that I really like is. So here, I can also see not everything has to run in the same Kubernetes cluster. So Keptn is usually a control plane. So you run Keptn with which consists of a couple of different microservices, such as the API service, the approval service for the manual approval tasks, the Lighthouse service, which is doing the Keptn quality gate evaluation. So it's a combination of different microservices. They run in the control plane. Let's say the control plane on one Kubernetes cluster. But then I can attach other services such as my performance tests with Locust, and they do not have to run on the same Kubernetes cluster. So in this case, I actually have another cluster running in JKE, and this cluster is from another cluster. It can be even another region. It's just sending all the load to my microservices and testing this from different clusters. So I don't have to run it on the same cluster as my control plane. I can even run the Keptn control plane on K3S, on K3D, on very small Kubernetes clusters, get started with this and then expand, or just have it there and then expand with new tool integrations on dedicated Kubernetes clusters, for example, or have my everything that goes into staging and is responsible for staging on a different Kubernetes cluster than everything that is responsible for production, for example. So there are different ways how to do this. And again, talking about how to get started and then how to expand, Sayam already mentioned this in the beginning. We do have tutorials, we do have a quick start, we do have different ways on how to get started. So for the quick start guide, for example, on the Keptn website, it will show you how to run it locally on your machine. So I've tested this on different machines. It should work with a fairly moderate developer machine. If you have, or actually you can just download K3D, which is a very small Kubernetes binary. You need Docker to run it, and then you can just create a cluster and install Keptn inside this small K3D cluster. This is one of the quick starts. But if you want to learn what are all the different use cases, how to integrate Keptn with, we already mentioned it a couple of times, but with Litmus Chaos, or how to integrate it with Azure DevOps, or how to integrate it with Jenkins, we do have a lot of tutorials which are step-by-step instructions how to use it. For example, how to build Keptn quality gates with Prometheus. If you're interested with this, go to this tutorial. It will start, actually it would start at the very beginning. I just exited when I was already at step 4. And then you have all the different steps, like explore the first Keptn quality gate evaluation. This is what you will see. This is how it looks like. You get step-by-step guidance how to set it up. And this is a very this is a way how a lot of different Keptn users are starting to explore from the tutorials what are the different use cases and how to use it. We also have like videos when we explained or when we invited Keptn users to share their story, what they are doing, how they are integrating Keptn quality gates, or which tools they're orchestrating with Keptn. So a lot of the things you will find on keptn.sh, full documentation, everything is also there. So this was a little bit of the demo. I think we still have, I still want to show you a little bit of the roadmap, but again, I'm pausing here for a second. If there are any questions coming in the comments, I'm happy to answer them.
Yep. First of all, Jürgen, congratulations that Keptn has completed 1K stars live on stream, 1K GitHub stars. So that is nice to know. And the tutorials link I have shared in the chat, it is super cool. There are step-by-step tutorials that you can follow. Also, I worked with Keptn on Civo integration. So on Civo Kubernetes, you can actually have a one-click Keptn install, which recently got live, and it's perfectly working fine on the cluster. So you can create a cluster and then do a single-click install, and you'll be up and running with Keptn to try any sort of tutorials from the tutorials library that Keptn has on their website. And yeah, a few questions that are there. Much needed. So which one was that? We have so many things in the chat. So are all the quality gates built in Keptn, or is it an external integration?
The quality gates are part of Keptn. So you could do, and you could also do it from an external part, but this is basically one of the most loved features of Keptn are the built-in quality gates. You only have to bring your SLI and your SLO file, and the rest is taken care of by Keptn.
And I think, Ajit, your question is answered. Like, do we have any sample SLO templates for Kickstarters? So you have the quick start guide, you have the tutorials, you can easily, see the Shipyard YAML.
Yes, exactly. We also have one in the documentation itself. There's also Shipyard. And if you're interested in, let's say, about all the different options that you can write, is actually, we do have a specification. And in the specification, we have defined what is the specification of the Shipyard, what is the specification of all the different kinds of cloud events, how to define service level objectives, service level indicators. So the spec is openly available. It's also on GitHub. So if you want to learn everything about it, you can go there. And for the examples, you will find it in the documentation and in the tutorials.
Awesome. So yeah, let's see what the roadmap is. I think that was a very good, this kind of presentation I really like, because there are tutorials already, there are videos already that tells about Keptn. Even on Rockwood, my friend's channel, Keptn, there are 2 great videos which guides you step by step. But this one is kind of different because we focus more on the production things, what people actually use Keptn for in production, why the SLO quality gates are so important, how the code is getting reduced, how the time to production is getting reduced. Those things are really, really powerful when you talk about Keptn.
Yes, exactly. And just because I read it here, Keptn, so it might be funny for you. It was also funny for me when we came up with the name Keptn. So in the German-speaking countries, Keptn sounds like the captain of a ship. And when we came up with the name, this was exactly our intention. We in the beginning we said no one ships apps like the Keptn. So we do want to ship your applications to production, but by orchestrating all the tools that you already have in your organizations and by bringing to the game, by bringing the whole orchestration to the game, by bringing the SLO-based quality gates to the game. And this is why the name Keptn is like, we also have this small man here, which, or like, is it a man, is it a woman? We don't really know, but it's kind of all this native references with a captain and a shipyard and a lighthouse and everything comes from this, that we want to ship applications. But now let's have a look at the roadmap. So Keptn roadmap is like as everything else on Keptn, it's publicly available on GitHub. So let me just find it. Oh, I just had it here. No, sorry, it's project number 1. I know it's project number 1. And where is it? Should be. Sorry, I just already had it open. Keptn roadmap GitHub. Probably it's this one or this one. Let me just find it real quick. Nope. Here we go. So we are very transparent when it comes to the roadmap. Everything is basically written here on GitHub. What we are currently working on, and where you might also want to be interested in getting involved, is Keptn is event-based, and we have defined a lot of different events, like a deployment event, a test event, a quality gate evaluation event, a rollback event, a promotion event. I don't know, like so many different kinds of events, with properties they need to have and whatnot. So if you're interested in kind of working on specifications, working how you want to shape the different events, then you're most welcome to join us, because we're also joining forces with the CDF, the Continuous Delivery Foundation, and merging the events that we have in Keptn with their upcoming definition of how events should look like to make different tools interoperable. Like that you can do your CI with Tecton and you can do the CD with Keptn, for example. But both tools should understand each other. So this is the main idea of the events. So this is one part that is on the roadmap. Then high availability of a Keptn, even if it just lives on a very small Kubernetes cluster, that its Keptn is high available. We're working on this, improving there. Improving access control, and we've already actually this was already also part of the latest Keptn releases. The separation of the control plane and execution plane, this was also released just a couple of months ago. Was very, very big milestone for Keptn to make this separation, that you can run parts of Keptn on a different Kubernetes cluster. So there is a lot of different things going on. If you want to get involved, you will find it here. So it's in the Keptn enhancement proposals repository, and right now it's a README that is constantly updated and a work in progress, so to say, because it's a roadmap, and once new things come up to the roadmap, it's put in there. And if you want to get involved into the project, then Keptn.sh is basically the first starting point. And we do have a Slack with slack.keptn.sh, where we have most of the conversations. We started early with our own Slack, so this is the reason why we have not yet migrated it into the CNCF Slack, because we want to keep also all the valuable conversations we had in our own Slack. And if you want to contribute to the project, we always have a list of good first issues on GitHub, and you will find a good first issue that is where basically you can start easily without the need to know all the details about Keptn, but you can just get started by either fixing a small bug or a documentation issue or whatever.
Yep, I think that's pretty amazing. So a solid and clean and clear roadmap with all the enhancement proposals that you can get involved readily. Join the Slack, and Jürgen is very reachable person, so you can reach him out and like ask questions, tell your use cases, raise the issues on GitHub, what all tutorials or things that you want to see, so that the community can collectively work on that. So that's pretty interesting. So Jürgen, is there anything related to Keptn integration with other past platforms like Heroku, Cloud Foundry, etc.? Do we have any documentation on that? Question
Um,
from.
No, not really. So Keptn was really built to run on Kubernetes. What we've seen is also that Keptn running it in just a small VM with, we know that some Keptn community members, they have come up with a Keptn in a box that you can just run Keptn on a small VM. And it will install micro Kubernetes for you. It will install Keptn for you. So there is no need for a Kubernetes cluster. But this is like Keptn itself always runs on some kind of Kubernetes, if it's K3D, K3S, micro Kubernetes, or the full Kubernetes distributions like GKE, AKS, EKS. So these are the, let's say, the operational models of Keptn.
Awesome. So yeah, we also had a question like, can you talk about Keptn CLI? But I think we are already over time. Maybe we'll talk sometime about the Keptn CLI as well. Also, thank you all for tuning in. You have been amazing crowd today. So many live tweets. So really happy to see that. Before just announcing the winners for the live tweet, I would like to thank Shivam, Adarsh, Rutam, Viraj, Akansha, Lagnajit, Suman, Ajit, Avinash, and others who have tweeted a lot. So since we are only able to give three, and the three winners for today will be Akansha, Lagnajit, and Shivam. So congratulations to you three. Please reach out to me on Twitter. My DMs are open. Tell me your email IDs and name so that I can send them over to Jürgen, and Keptn team can contact you for your mailing address and then send you the awesome swag. So thanks again for tuning in, and thank you, Jürgen, for the awesome explanation for the introductory session, plus the production things that we talked about, and also how some of the use cases that are really critical in the production scenarios. What people are actually using. The roadmap looks amazing. The team is awesome. I know you folks are great. So all the success to you, and again congratulations for completing 1K stars. That's really good on GitHub, and thank you for spending time. Anything you would like to say to the community?
Thanks for having me. Thank you so much for your community also to help us with reaching the stars. I could not follow all the comments here while I was presenting, but I know that I just now see that a lot of comments are coming in. So thanks for your interest. It's really great. And if you want to learn more, take a look at keptn.sh. You will find a lot of resources. We also have the Twitter account where you can follow. But really, thanks to your community and this great open source community. It's really great to join you here and to talk about the project.
Yep, always nice to talk to you. So yeah, tomorrow we'll be discussing, I think, about kube cost. I'm losing track of the streams that I'm having actually, but I hope that tomorrow we are discussing kube cost. But yeah, some stream is definitely there tomorrow, 8 a.m. PT or 8:30 p.m. IST. So keep joining, keep learning, and keep tweeting, keep supporting me in the initiative that we are all in together with, and we are getting the knowledge, like as someone mentioned in the last comment. Don't worry about the swag, focus on the knowledge. So swag is just something that is given by the team who is there. They are kind of supporting me in giving away something. So the first thing is knowledge, but yeah, there are some swags that we give away. So every time is a winning. So not today, maybe tomorrow. It's okay. So tune in every day, and we'll try to make streams more awesome. So Jürgen has been a great today in telling Keptn and all things about that. So thanks again, Jürgen, and thank you all for tuning in today. See you all tomorrow. Have a nice day, rest of your day. Bye all.
Bye.